We got another log cut up, another yellow cedar log cut up. This is one of them that I pointed out that I dug out earlier this spring that had the defect in it. It was a pretty good sized log, decent sized log, but it had a big defect in it, big cat face on one side end of it, and it was bulged out on that end where it kind of grew around that. There's a lot of waste on that one because it had a lot of taper to it. Of course, that big bulge had a little bit of a sway in it and stuff, so wound up cutting a lot off of it to get down into some decent wood. I wound up getting 2 premium 4x6s, just beautiful 4x6s, really nice ones. And then I got 2 that were in that cat face. They got rot in on the upper end, so they wind up being good 9 foot on them. When I trim them off before the rot starts, I got a good 9 feet on both of those. So they're beautiful. They'll make beautiful 8 foot 4x6s. Then I got 2 1x6s on off the bottom. That's kind of the outer layer, the sapwood area, wet area, cadmium layer, or whatever. The bottom of the log. I got 2 1x6s on out of those, and they've got, one of them's got a little bit of wane on it. It's not too bad, but it's a nice, otherwise a nice board. And the other one is the same as 2 of the 4x6s. It went into that cat face and it's got some rot in it, so it'll make a 9 footer. The others are 14 feet. And then I got 2 so-so 2x6s out of that. They won't be good for my deck boards, but my son wants to rebuild his moose hunting cabin, his moose hunting camp, and they'll be good for floor joists and that. And then I dug out most of the rest of my yellow cedar there. I've got it dug out of the hole where it was. I've still got a couple of nice logs over there, but I dug out what I got 4 real nice yellow cedar butt logs, and because the way those were laying, I had to get them out of there with tongs on the little excavator because they were stuck endo in, and you can't really get on them with a grapple or anything like that. So I got those out of there and turned around where I can get them with the grapple. May be able to pick them up with a little excavator, I don't know. I've been using it more because the Bobcat leaks oil so bad, and I want to go over those with the pressure washer and get them cleaned up a little bit, get the grit off of them and stuff once I get them on here. But those are some pretty nice logs. So I've got to calculate out what I need for 4x6s. I've got almost enough for the framework. In fact, I do have enough for the framework, and then I've got to make a frame, roof trusses. I'm going to make roof trusses out of the 4x6s. You know, I'll need a few more of them probably for that. I haven't got that all designed out yet, but it'll be timber roof trusses, and it'll be about 6 foot wide. The opening will be about 6 foot wide, and I want to make a 5/12 pitch on it. Maybe I'll make a little stronger pitch than that, but I've got 5/12 pitch on the house. That's what I was figuring on making on the roof. Anyhow, that's coming along a little bit at a time. The mill is working pretty good. That one blade that I had on there, I milled up most of those logs with that, and I made the 2 face cuts on this one with that, and then as I got ready to make my 3rd face cut on it, the blade broke. So I went and got a new blade, one of the new ones that I just set the teeth on, and boy, that thing cuts sweet. Made beautiful cuts on that one. It's got some more cuts in it before I have to change it. I went cut through the outer layer of the log on it quite a bit, and that gets grit impregnated in it. Even if I clean it up, it still gets some dirt and grit stuff in it, which has its effect on that blade. And then this yellow cedar is fairly abrasive on its own. It dulls those blades pretty fast. Anyway, that's looking good. I'm happy with that. Didn't get started till late today because it was pouring down rain all morning, and I went and worked on the airplane a little bit for a couple hours, and then I come home and I got pretty wet working on the airplane because it's pouring down rain out there working on it. But well, I just went and changed my clothes and figured I'd whittle this log up. I got all those gnarly top logs butchered up. I got them made into some usable material. Did pretty good out of them considering what they were. Getting to be a heck of a pile of slabs there. My wife picked through the slabs yesterday and drug some of them up into her garden to make raised bed garden for the cabbages. We still got a pretty good pile of them there. Some of those can be reused into other things. Actually, I've got 2 good boards in there I need to rip down into 6x6s. But most of it's all just slabs, and it can be used, like I said, for other things. Some of it can be, and if nothing else, it can be cut up into firewood. I've got another nice stick on there right now. That one's 17 feet long and it's nice and straight, but it's got some taper to it. It's 22 inches here on the butt end and 18 inches on the top. Well, I jacked it up there on that other end. I picked it up on that small end and raised it up on a 2x4. That's not exactly 2 inches, but that'll give it enough so that the taper will come out of it, so it'll cut down the straight line. And it was kind of drug in the mud a little bit. Oh, it's got had some rocks embedded in it and everything. I went over it and cleaned it all up on the cut lines there. Well, I'll make my first face cut on that and see what we can do about turning that into some lumber. My first cut on there was pretty skinny. I didn't get the outer bark layer off all the way down to the other end. I can make a good board out of that flitch. So I knew that log was 22 inches on the butt end and 18 on the other end, on the top end, and adding a 2x4 over there, raise that up 1.5 inches, so that would have been that 19.5 inches. Well, I took and made my first cut at 20 inches. Well, I knew it wasn't going to take the whole thing off all the way down. I expected it to go a little farther than that, but it didn't. It ran out before it got down there. But I did wind up getting a short, I'll get an 8-inch, 1-inch board out of that flitch that I can cut into a board. And then I went down another inch the second time, and then I got a pretty good flitch out of that one. Again, that one goes almost all the way to the end. Well, it did go all the way to the end, but the board, of course, that it makes out of there won't go all the way to the end. And then the last cut was at 18 inches, and that one gives me a good flitch. I can cut that into 2 8-footers, and one of them will make a good 1x6 or 1x8, and the other one is about 12 inches or so. Or something like that. I can do something with it anyway, but it's not wasted anyhow. So now I gotta decide whether I'm gonna turn that log and take the other face or take another cut off of that one. I haven't decided yet, but we'll work that out. I got to looking at that log, and the way the curve was on the other end of it, on the small end, it looked to me like it was going to be better if I went ahead and took another flitch off of there. So I dropped that mill down to 17 inches and took another flitch off of there, and then that straightens that out pretty good. It's not near as much of a curve on there, so the wane on that end of the log won't be as bad on the next cuts as it would have been if I'd left it on there on this side. So now I've got that face cut. I need to roll that log over so I can make the second face on that. And that one is just a little bigger than I want to tackle right now with PV. I've had those 32 and 38 inch diameter logs on there, and I haven't hardly been able to handle those by hand anymore. I got thinking about it, and I decided to see if I could turn it with the excavator. And I've done that before with the tongs, just laid it down there and turned it and stuff, but that gets kind of hard on everything. So my original thought was to take a strap, one of these nylon straps or chokers, lifting straps, whatever, and I run it around the log and run it through its own eye and then back around. And I turned it so that the eye that it ran through was close to this side over here. And then I took another shorter strap, and what I was going to do was come along and hook onto the shorter strap and lift the bucket up and then pick it up by hand. But after I got to looking at it and thinking about it, why should I do it by hand if I can do it with the machine? So I put that other strap on there. I took the tongs off the bucket, and I'm going to go ahead and see if I can roll that log over like that. Okay, that worked pretty good. It's not quite straight. Get a little gap down here at the bottom. So I think that'll roll back as I take pressure off of that. I'll put my dogs up on the other side and hold that up in there and take that pressure off the excavator and see what happens. Alright, that worked pretty good. It's away from the dogs on this side, but it is almost level now, so scoot it over with the dogs on the other side. They screw out and they'll screw this way. That's pretty much square there now. Now the next turn is going to be a little bit more difficult. This turn there was enough wane on that, enough curve on that log that I could get that strap out of there. But the next one, when I go to turn it, it's going to come down flat on a flat face and flat on that carriage on that table on the mill. But I guess what I can do is just pick it up with a bar or something and slide that strap out of there. But anyway, that worked. I'll have to measure this, but I'm sure it's going to be pretty close to the same size on one end of this and the other as it was before, 22 and 18, pretty close. So that 2x4 on the other end of it there will probably be just right for adjusting for the run out on the grain. So yeah, that's looking good. Well, I got two skinny flitches off of that one and one nice flitch off of it. The third one has one good edge on it, almost all the way down it. So I've got my log set up here now, and I've got a good clean 90-degree corner almost all the way down. There's about 1.5 feet down on the far end that's got a little bit of wane on it, but not too much. So I've got this cut 18 inches on this end by 17. Well, anyway, it's time to turn this thing again and see what I can get out of it to finish it up. So I set it up. It worked so well to turn it with the excavator last time. I'll do it again. And like I said, I'm going to have trouble with it this time because it's going to pinch there under that table when I get it up. So I'm going to have to get a bar or something and lift that up so I can get that strap out of there once I get it rolled over. Okay, that didn't hurt near so much as trying to flip that with a PV, the cant hook. My back has been so bad the last couple of weeks that I can barely do anything. I have to sit in the massage chair for a couple hours every night before I go to bed, and then I can go to bed for an hour or two, and then I have to get up and sit in the massage chair again. So anyway, I'm not getting much sleep. I suppose even rolling over those little logs didn't help any, but this one would have hurt a lot. Now anyway, that's rolled over. And now I got to butcher this one up. We'll take the slab off of this one. I can get this side down to a workable cant where I get the ends down there close to with all of the wane off of it. Close, doesn't have to be all of it. And then we'll cut it into dimensions, 6-inch or whatever for my planks. And then we'll roll it over and cut those and get finished boards out of them off of that. So now I got to go over this and clean up all of the mud and stuff off of this side. That side was 17 inches from the first face that I cut up to the wane on this side and up to the cadmium layer. Well, I took off one slab off of that. I took it pretty skinny. I made it about 1.5 inches. And then I've got one, say, half flitch and one half slab. Anyway, the cut runs out towards the other end of it, but this end makes a good 1-inch flitch. Then there's another good 1-inch flitch underneath that, full length. And then it's got a 2x flitch out of that next section of it. Now that takes it down to a nice square edge on my cant on both sides. That 2x flitch. Doesn't quite have a square edge all the way down it, but most of the way down it. So anyway, that's pretty good. That's going to be a nice board. So I'll get those cleaned off, and then I'm going to split this in half. I'm going to make 2 6-inch cants out of that, and then we'll roll it over and make boards out of the rest of it. Now I need 32 10-foot long 2x6s. Again, I've already got 32 of them 8-foot long, but I got to redo all of that and make them 10-foot long. And then I want a bunch of 12-foot 2x6s or thereabouts to make car decking for the roof of the timbered portion of the porch. Not going to do that on the whole porch, but just over the timbered section of the porch over the entryway. So we got a lot of 2x6s to cut. Now I was getting kind of a scraping noise on that last few cuts on there, so I must have hit a rock in there someplace that I didn't find when I was going over the log and knocked a tooth out of alignment or something there. I'll be able to tell once I get those flitches off there if I got a tooth out of alignment. Oh, it's probably time to change that blade. I made a lot of cuts on that with that blade. I don't really want to change it yet because we got one more cut to make through the dirty part of the wood, and I don't like putting a fresh blade on when I still got dirty wood to cut. But I'll get those flitches cleaned up off of there and then see where we go from there. Well, my son came by to get the dogs to take them out for their evening run, so I got him to help me turn those cants over. We each got a PV, and we rolled them over, got them all set up again. So now got the dogs ran, so I think I'll go ahead and take the wane off of these cans here now and get them ready to start milling up. My son came by and helped me turn those cants over. We did it with a couple of PVs. I got one and he had the other one. I know he's such a puny little guy, we had a heck of a time doing it, but we got it turned over. And then I went ahead and run the saw down the cant a couple times there. I took the wane off the top of it and then got a couple of not too good 1x6s, and then I got a couple of decent 4x6s. The one on the other side still got some wane on it, but my son needs a couple, 3 of them for his rebuilding his moose camp, so they'll work fine for that. It'll be a start for that. So now I've got, and then there's one good one on there. That gets me down past the wane on that cant. So now that I'm past the dirty wane, sounds like a song or a rock and roll band or something from the 50s. Anyway, now that I'm past the dirty wane, I can change my blade and put a new blade on. You can see the tear that one was getting on the offside there. The yellow cedar's tough on them anyway, but I think I hit a rock with it. But anyhow, it's time to change new blade. I got nice clean wood, and I've got 2 6x12s there that I can whittle up, and I need 2x6s. Might even need another 4x6, I don't know. I'll have to think about what it doesn't ever hurt to have an extra 4x6 laying around.
Well, look at that powdery sawdust.
Yeah, I get a lot of sawdust on there after I set the kerf on those blades.
Oh, yeah.
Get a lot more sawdust.
Powdery.
Well, that's cedar's always like that. There's one more log butchered up. That one whittled down pretty good. Got 8 nice 2x6s out of that, and I decided to go ahead and leave 2 more 4x6s. Not sure exactly how many 4x6s I need, but I know I can always use some extra 4x6s. Like I said, my son, I got one of them that I give to him out of what we took off yesterday. Had some wane on it. The outside one on this one has some wane on it. It's still a pretty good 4x6, but my son wants 3 of them for his moose hunting cabins. Doing the calculations on the rafters there that I'm going to make out of the 4x6s, and I need 3, 4, 5 of them for that. So probably need a couple more of them yet. Anyway, that's a good start. I need 32 of the 2x6s. I got 8 of them out of this. Then I've got a couple in the slab that was off of that log, and then there's another slab off of one of the other logs. There's a couple in it, and then I've got one sitting over there on the log deck that I can whittle down into a 2x6. It was off that naughty one. I'm not sure I want to use it on